What is Dental Year? Dental Year is the leading marketing app in dentistry. Created by marketers, this resourceful platform helps your dental practice in a variety of ways. Content inspiration, real-time marketing ideas, tips on ROI with your current methods, fresh resources, and lots more.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Buzz. I'm your host, Brad, and we are stoked to welcome back Chris Ternus, one of our partners over at NexHealth. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Doing great, Brad. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. What have you been up to? How's everything at NexHealth, especially after the big close a few weeks ago? Congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we got our Series C funding and are now a unicorn, and so yeah, it's been super exciting. A lot of big changes going on to really drive innovation in healthcare, and a lot of that comes down to hiring more so we can develop even more on our platform and grow it so it's more impactful for offices. Yeah,
it's cool, and I equate like becoming a unicorn. It's like winning a championship or something in sports. There's only a handful of companies that have ever been started to become a unicorn, and it's pretty tremendous when you think about it, to have $1 billion valuation. Does that create like a different energy, confidence, vibe with the team? Like, is there a difference, or because I think if you after you win a championship, like there's an aura in the locker room and a certain strut the team has. I assume that happens at NexHealth, right?
I think it certainly happens. You get that strut, and I think the thing to note though is you can only have that for a minute, because the game doesn't stop that day. Unlike the championship in a Super Bowl or something, the game continues the next morning at 8:00. So it's kind of, everyone might get in that fun little phase for maybe a week or two, but the reality is there's always the next marker that we want to hit as a company. So you definitely get that nice, great win celebration, but it's kind of like the end of every month for a dental office. Production starts at 0, and you want to make sure that you get as much in as you can then, and make next month a win, get higher production, get more treatment in. So, take care of more patients ultimately. So that's what we're doing. We got the win. We're super excited, because what it means is we're going to be able to care for more practices down the road. But you're kind of always moving to that next goalpost.
Well, congratulations once again. That's awesome. Question for you. So, speaking about moving goalposts and increasing revenues and profitability, on the last call we had together, we punted the topic about double bookings. Okay.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your take on double bookings. Is it a good idea? Should offices be doing it? And because I know there's a lot of fear and hesitation with no shows, right? And so, is double booking a solution?
Yeah. So my experience, having worked with dentists for the last 14 years, is that it is a great solution for the office. You've just got to be strategic about it. So based on the practices that I've worked with, you'd see on average a 25% no-show cancellation rate. Like, basically all the chairs, even in a great office where everything is full, and let's say, just to make it easy, they booked 100 appointments for this next month. They're going to look back at last month. They'll have already booked those 100 appointments last month, but they're going to see that they ended up at 75 appointments. And so where the strategy comes in on that is, one, figuring out, what that percentage is for your office. So it might be greater than 25%. It might be lower than 25%. That's just the average that I saw. But also, where are those happening? Typically in an office, what I saw is midday appointments would cancel out more often than not. So you're looking at 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Or, If you're a weekend office, weekends are great. Patients love them. But the reality is if it's a sunny day outside, more people are not, they'd rather go to a barbecue than come into the office. And I know that like weekends have been expanding. So that's where I'd say weekends are a great thing. I think you should have them in the office, but that's where I would say every other appointment, kind of look at what your day has looked like historically and start to overbook based on that. And then from a marketing standpoint, that doesn't mean everyone shows up and is frustrated. If everyone shows up, they're all of a sudden going to be frustrated because their chair's not available. You've just got to have contingency plans in place, just like United does, right? So having a gift card available to a Starbucks or an Amazon gift card in order to accommodate them and pay them $25 for the fact that, that patient's going to have to wait a little bit longer to get in their chair. Ultimately, they're going to be happy that they got $25 going to the dentist more than anything. So you've just got to kind of be prepared for those scenarios. So that's my thought on double booking. What have you experienced there, Brad?
I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know. I kind of floated it through a couple offices, and there was a lot of them. I understandably like not a chance because there's block booking, and the scheduling in the booking. I find is like, besides hiring the right people at the office, is probably the most difficult thing for offices to get right. And that's really interesting. But it was funny you said about Saturday with the barbecue. So this is what we should do. Every office should have a barbecue in the backyard or wherever you can at your office. So you always have a barbecue. So on your marketing is like, don't not show up for your appointment to go to a barbecue because we have a barbecue at the office, right? You could have a hot dog, hamburger. They should make in the operatory, the walls should look like a beach. So instead of going to the beach, come to the beach here. Come to the beach here. We're at the beach.
I love that idea. Instead of, since we facilitate digital forms, those can all be filled out before the patient ever comes in the office. Have them show up 15 minutes earlier for a burger, and then that way they can get the mustard cleaned off while they're, after their burger and beer.
Or just get them an Oculus Rift and say, where were you going to go anyway? Oh, you were going to go to a soccer game? AC Milan? Put the headset on. We got the game on. You could be front row. Just open your mouth. I got to get in there and clean up the tar off your molars.
So I would say when it comes to double booking, I've found it to be effective with the offices that I've worked at, actually extremely effective, but it just comes down to when you do it. And you can kind of figure out when hedging your bets basically makes the most sense for your practice. I wouldn't necessarily say do it all day, but look at last month, the last 6 months, and see where your holes typically are, and maybe throw an extra patient on the book then.
Or perhaps that, that patient that you haven't confirmed with or got on the phone, or if they haven't filled out the live patient forms, right? Something like 40% increase on showing up if they do the forms, right?
Yeah, that's data that I've seen is 40% more likely to show up if they filled out their forms.
I almost think your forms acquisition was so smart, but not so much for its intended purpose, just for alerting the office which person's showing up or not.
Totally, because you can actually monitor, if they've even clicked on the form. So use that as a point of contact to say, hey, did you see them? Are you missing them? Because you can see they haven't clicked on them. And if they don't respond or say, oh yeah, I'll get to that later, and then you see, the next day that they haven't done it after you've resent it to them, and let's say they've got that 10 to 2 o'clock appointment and they haven't filled them out, might be one that's worth having a gift card prepared and an extra patient booked.
When that happens, the front desk person would manually then have to recognize this opportunity, then look at the list of no-shows or last-minute people who were interested in coming in earlier and potentially book that last minute? Or how would that work? Because I think this is really important. If intuitively an office knows this person ain't showing up, like we can't get them on the phone, they won't call back, they haven't opened the forms. Even if they do show up, we don't care. I mean, we care, but they might have to wait because they didn't follow our protocol and our simple directions, right? Now, what's the best practice for going ahead and let's call it double booking? Will they go into NexHealth and send a mass text or reach out to one person, or how would they book that quickly?
Yeah, in order to book that quickly, you could there's various ways to do that. This specific scenario, I would say do some outreach to your wait list, which we can facilitate and say, hey, we've got another appointment tomorrow at such and such time. Let's get you in there. I think that that's pretty forward thinking to like do the automation there. So I think it would be great if offices wanted to, engage with the wait list through an automated text to get that overbooking filled, because we can facilitate that.
Right.
But yeah, to your point, you might, I think a lot of offices are also going to be more comfortable picking up the phone, knowing who's on the wait list schedule and getting them booked in. Or if a phone call comes in, having the knowledge that this person hasn't filled out their forms, we're still waiting on that confirmation. Let me throw in a patient at that 1 o'clock appointment.
Yeah, that makes sense. By the way, I think I told you this last time, but our clients, our offices that use the scheduling widget, it's a game changer. They love it, dude. They're always like, I don't know how we did it before this. It's unbelievable. They're absolutely loving the integration, and plus the way we're coding it and putting it on the website, it's a within the site integration, so they don't have to leave the site. They schedule, they book right there, they get the forms. It's wonderful. The front office people love it.
Yeah, and we've really customized our system, or we've allowed our system to be so customizable that you can really capture any amount of information you want, set up the appointments any way that you'd want, and really facilitate what a practice would want their front desk team to do when they're qualifying patients for an appointment, either new or returning. So that's really the reason I joined NexHealth, was because of the customization I saw and how in line it was with the needs of individual practices, since everyone is kind of running their office a little bit differently and wanting different information in order to inbound them.
Yeah.
An online scheduling tool needs to be able to facilitate the workflows that the practice wants, not force the practice to change to accommodate the scheduling tool.
Love that.
So yeah, we work for the practice.
Very cool. And one word of advice here, I just want to say, whenever an office is implementing a new technology, a new integration, a new API in a website, make sure to test it and make sure everything's running. Clearly your code doesn't impact speed and it's super seamless. And I mean, you guys are incredible developers, but I'll just tell a brief story what happened with an office. Wonderful practice, super nice dentist, wanted to put a bot chat feature. So I like chat, just not bots, right? Because I've never had a bot chat experience that ended, and I thought, wow, that was amazing. Like it doesn't happen. And so like just maybe the Sprint PCS enterprise, like these types of companies maybe should have a bot chat widget, not a 1 or 2 location dental practice that is trying to do everything they can to capture and manicure these new patient leads, right, with a human touch. And so long story short, before I could have our next call and convince him not to get the bot feature, they paid for the year and we had to put it on the website. Okay, I'm all for trying new things and getting creative and experimenting. You've got to do this with marketing, business, and in life, right? But I just knew going into this, bot chat features is never going to be successful on a dental practice website. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's insane. Like, why would you have a chat bot feature? It says if you'd like to book a new appointment, click book appointment. Why can't the person just click book appointment? Right? And like, I don't understand this, right? And so the speed on the website tanked. It was around 2 minutes. It went down to 18 seconds. Bounce rates went through the roof. And a couple weeks of not as significant new patient growth as previously had, right?
Yeah.
Now the bot features they're off, obviously, and it is what it is. But the point of me telling you that is, a lot of offices listening are trying a lot of new things, getting this done. I love it. Try new things. That's how you can be successful. But anytime you implement a new functionality on a dental website, you got to beta test it. It's like if you take a car to the mechanic and they put a new cylinder in the car, probably at the mechanic, he or she drives around the block to make sure it's running properly. You got to do the same thing with the website. And it's a really important thing. I just want to mention that because this happened recently, and now it's fixed. But it was a painful thing to see the office go through when we had to do it. We were begging them not to, but we had to do it because he signed up for the year. Long story short, check the website after you implement a new feature.
Yeah, I think checking the website after you implement a feature is always key. And honestly, your web company should be able to tell you. Also, asking what the lift on the website is going to be for a service that you're purchasing that's going to go on there. For ours, we have an app that pushes you to our app, but as you said, like, we have embedded it on a few sites with you, and I don't think there's really been any impact because it's such a light lift on the website. Yeah, that the one place where I've actually seen chatbots be, and it's newer, but at least interesting, is that after hours capturing patients. So we have an open API, and so we work with other developers to create services, and we actually work with a chatbot that does try to book patients, but it's for if a phone call is missed by the practice. So after hours or even during hours, you and I work with offices where, sometimes the phones don't get picked up during business hours. Well,
what do you mean? No, it gets answered every time.
That you're correct. Is every time it gets answered. So, but in the case where it may not get answered, this chatbot will actually text the patient and then have an intelligent conversation with them about when and what day and what time they want to get booked, and book that appointment for them. And they actually use our API in order to do that. I guess I'll throw in a selfish plug there. We actually recently did a case study on that. So you can visit nexhealth.com or blog.nexhealth.com, I guess, in order to see kind of what we're doing with the API and other developers in the dental space.
So that's genius. But you're saying if a potentially patient calls the office, right, and then they leave a message, then that person will get a text message on their mobile device. Thanks for calling Chicago Cosmetic Dentistry. How could we help you?
Exactly. Sorry we missed your call. How can we help you?
So
trying
that's
to book
awesome.
an appointment, the patient says, and then it says, great, we've got appointments tomorrow from here to here to here, and Thursday here to here to here. When would you like to come in?
Okay, so that's awesome. I was just talking about the chat feature that lives on a homepage of a website. That
Totally.
widget, yeah. And I love chat. Like, I love interactive web chat features as long as there's a human responding at some point. That's better. But just the bot chat itself for me is it would be a quality problem if an office had so many inbound leads coming where the front desk could literally not handle them. Even then, I would not go bot. Now the missed phone call is really stealth mode. I love that. That's great because that's a slam dunk. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and I think that there's other ways to implement that. But it's interesting. You're talking about kind of conversation, or the way the office is presenting itself to the patients with an online chat bouncing and having kind of a negative experience with the speed there. I was wondering what your thoughts were on this is kind of a little bit outside, well outside of that scope, but I was, walking through, I was at CDA last week, walking through the airport, and I saw a big billboard that just said was full arches implants for $1,500 in order to come in and get your implant. And I was wondering what your thoughts are from a marketing perspective on big ticket items that, obviously we're doing examinations for, we aren't, but practices are examining patients and finding this type of treatment. What do you think about doing these kind of large ticket advertisements with kind of the full ticket cost on a banner or billboard? What are you seeing there from a financing perspective on what patients are looking for?
For most offices, I'm not a fan of putting a price on there because no one has any idea what they should cost anyway. Now, I would have more of a, we offer affordable financing, buy now, pay later with Sunbit. We accept most insurances. Address the financial concern, obviously, because that's important. But I'd rather go with more potentially like dental implants as low as $79.99 a month as opposed to saying it's 65 grand for all on four dental implants. Because I think that'll freak a lot of people out that might not know exactly what they cost. Now, clearly, people might know that all on four dental implants might be $65K, but advertising that cost wouldn't be strategic for most offices we work with. Although the financial options page on a website, Chris, is always or most likely a top 5 visited page on dental websites. Some of our clients have it as number 2. So visitors will go from the homepage directly to financial options. Literally before services, before about us, before contact, they're just seeing what are the options here. And so my recommendation on that is to make sure you have a financial options page on the website, but make sure it's a really strong page with great content and a video, right? It could be a 30-second video of one of your team members, not even going into so much detail about it, but just addressing the question. Thanks so much for visiting our website. We're here to answer any questions you may have about insurance, payment options, blah, 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 and call the office with questions, right? Keep it open, but just having a nice welcoming video message will help capture that lead and perhaps have them send a message or phone call so you can have that dialogue one-on-one.
So kind of making that interaction more personable simply by having it come from someone who's talking to the visitor to let them know
exactly
how convenient their options are, rather than having to read 3 paragraphs of text regarding financing.
Exactly. I would have a nice, friendly person from the office addressing that concern, addressing that question. You can go into it, say, we offer Delta, that whatever the insurances are or fee for service. You can't mention it. You don't have to hide anything, right? But just having that welcoming message is so powerful, because then what happens is the person takes a deep breath. Oh, they do offer my insurance. Let me take a look around and see what else is going on here. And at the end of the day, video is the number one way to increase time spent on a website and lower bounce rates, right? So we want to do everything we can when someone's shopping around, thinking about where they want to go for a practice. How do we capture that person and have them learn more and contact the office or book an appointment through NexHealth? And the most powerful way to do that, we feel, is through video, right? Video. And so I feel like video is at one end of the spectrum and like bots are over here. Now, I'm talking for like the communication bots, right? Because there was a great article recently in Forbes that was all about supercharging your marketing success and all this, and optimizing your customer service was a big part of this article. And so optimization of customer service, you think about like the Ritz-Carlton and that anticipatory service. How do we optimize patient service in all touch points, from that initial visit on the website to the phone call or a real chat or a booking, to forms, to come into the office, to in the office, to follow-ups, all these types of things. And so each office is totally different, and we all have to obsess about that as much as possible, so it's a memorable, pleasant experience. And I think really adding a video on that page for financial options is another step in that direction, because clearly most people are going to go to financial options if there's a page and figure out how they're going to pay for this and what's going to cost them.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me. Like I said, just personalizing it. You don't even need to get into that much detail, but let them know that they're basically going to get taken care of, and you've got the options to make sure they're able to get the care they need.
It's great. I love it. You were talking earlier. You're seeing some trends in with X-rays going up, right? Like, what's this whole story you read about X-rays?
Oh yeah, what I was reading about X-rays, and it does fall in line with what we were kind of talking about from examinations, implants, was that I believe it was $1.5 billion is the revenue for the X-ray industry right now, or like the revenue created by X-rays.
Yeah. And
that it's looking to be $6.1 billion by 2030,
wow,
which is a massive increase in that. But just coming from CDA and seeing what you see as far as like cone beam technology, iTero, you just see these X-rays are advancing and becoming more prevalent, but also, costs on what you're getting from a 3D cone beam X-ray, like as that technology advances and offices adopt more bleeding edge technology, I assume the cost to consumers also goes up, or the cost to insurance goes up as that happens. So yeah, I thought that was just kind of a really interesting PR piece I saw recently.
That's a 500% jump. That's crazy. Anything else you saw at CDA that kind of stands out, either exhibitors or courses or anything at that incredible conference?
It was a fantastic conference. I ended up, I think there's a lot going on in the space of, like I said, just that tech. You're seeing more and more cone beams becoming a thing where I think like every office is going to have that rather than bite wings, because you still run into the offices that just have traditional bite wings, and most offices are utilizing both technologies. But in addition to that, I was looking at you've got milling machines, cubics are to create crowns, and then like 3D printing. So I think just the tech in order to get crowns quicker, get placements done faster. It's just really interesting to see how the technology is advancing to just make things a little bit easier for dentists and less wait time for them and less wait time for their patients in order to convert patients who need care into the treatment that they need.
Any books up there on the shelf you want to recommend that are game changers?
Books up on the shelf that are game changers. It's a great question. Most of them are philosophy books.
Those are game changers.
Sales Bible is always one that's like great.
It's called Sales Bible.
The Sales Bible. There's also another one that actually a dentist friend of mine who's actually going to be speaking at the upcoming, I think he's at DEO to St. Crawford. He always recommended to me, and I don't have it up there, but it's called The Sales Machine. And it's just great management book, just kind of talking about like how to really work with your customers and get the prospects you're looking at, but also manage your team to kind of work with the same mindset as you. So that would be a great.
It's the Ultimate Sales Machine.
Ultimate Sales Machine, yeah.
Nice. The Ultimate Sales Machine. I'm gonna scoop that up on Amazon right when we get off. Great talk with you, Chris. It's always inspiring and enlightening to talk marketing and business with you.
No, it was fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on again. I really appreciate it.
It's great stuff. And everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Buzz. I think I've talked about it a gazillion times on this podcast. If a lot of you are doing really interesting marketing initiatives, video, SEO, AdWords, postcards, TV, email newsletter, you're doing all these things. You want to increase your conversion rate optimization. That is the percentage of people that come to your website that actually book and become patients. Because at the end of the day, that's all you care about, right? With the marketing, who's becoming a new patient. And there is not an initiative out there that could have a bigger impact than implementing a scheduling widget, specifically the NexHealth scheduling widget. It is a no-brainer and a game changer. Think about how if you go out for dinner, you're going on Open Table or Resi. No one's calling restaurants anymore to book a table unless you're having a big party or some special occasion, right? I don't even think they have anyone at the restaurant anymore during off hours because no one calls. The point is, at a dental practice, most offices are going to be implementing a scheduling widget, so you just want to be ahead of the curve because it's not a matter of if, but when. And so highly recommend you get on this because patients want it. People don't want to call or text anymore. They just want to book and get on with their day. So really highly recommended. Congratulations once again, Chris, on all this success on everything at NexHealth. And we look forward to welcoming you again on another episode soon.
I'm looking forward to it too, Brad. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care. And if you implement a scheduling widget, and take into consideration some of the topics we covered today, you'll without question be a Wizard of Buzz.
If you're looking for more reach, engagement, and conversion with your dental practice marketing, download the Dental Year app today.